Good morning. Is it audible, my voice? Yeah. So if at all any problems are there, you can chat. Okay. And I'm expecting everybody should mute yourself. So please mute yourself. The screen visible clearly.
Yes.
I hope you have seen him in javascript.org. I think in the screen you have seen the person behind the current JavaScript world. The main founder of Java was Mr. James Gosling. After James Gosling, the JavaScript came. For JavaScript, Mr. Brendan Itz. He is the person behind this JavaScript. So you have to give a big salute to this person. I think you are seeing his picture now clearly. So when you are developing any web pages, the web page consists of actually the three important things. What are the three important things? One is HTML, second one is CSS, third one is JavaScript. If you combine these three, then automatically your web page will be strong and more efficient. So earlier in the early stage in Web 1.0, earlier everything was static pages. So in the static page, they used to give only HTML and HTML content only. That means there was no proper styling and there is no proper interactive. Later on, they felt the static pages are not sufficient enough or not more interactive, are not satisfying the customer's requirement. So they have introduced the concept of CSS as well as JavaScript. Up to even HTML with CSS, that is okay, because that will display the content with different styles. Up to content display, HTML and CSS okay, but to interact with the user, to verify the content, you need one more language, that is scripting language. So he has designed, Mr. Braden is. He is a person who was working in the Netscape earlier, and he is the main founder of Mozilla Firefox. So there he has introduced this language. Okay. Now you have to see the evolution of this particular language. Now I'll give you the brief introduction of the timeline of the JavaScript. How JavaScript started, in the which year. Remember, in the 1995 itself, they have introduced the concept of JavaScript. I think you know there is two difference. One is HTML, second one is DHTML. In HTML, you will find only normal content. In DHTML, you will find normal content along with the interactive session. Means you can check the content and you can verify the data whatever you are giving. So for data verification, you can introduce this JavaScript concept. Actually, Mr. Braden, who has worked in the Mozilla, there he has designed what? Mozilla Firefox, the browser. There he has said that better give a chance to the user to verify the content, whatever the content I am giving, whether that is correct or not. So instead of giving the load to the server, you can share the load at the client side itself. Because our website programs are everything is client serverless applications. So in the client serverless application, so you can share the load, some part in the client side, some part in the server side. So better you check some portion of data at the client side. So whenever you want to check the data at the client side, then you have to use the JavaScript concept. Remember, there are various scripting languages are there. JavaScript, one more is the VB script. JavaScript is most of the time we are using the browser. Earlier, even they used to use even VB script, Visual Basic. That was actually introduced by the Microsoft, but that could not sustain for a long time. This JavaScript is therefore means it is supporting in all browser, because the scripting language also completely depends on the browser. Browser dependent features are there. So in the May 95, Mr. Brendan Itz, which he is from Netscape, created the JavaScript. In 10 days, he has given the foundation, means the basic requirement. That is the greatness about Mr. Brendan Itz. Actually, he got the idea from Java, Mr. James Gosling, because James Gosling, who has designed the project mainly meant for to system means client side, not for web oriented. Later on, when the browser concept came, Mr. Brendan, he has introduced the Java's feature for browser. Okay, and the main aim of the JavaScript is to assist the Java and make web more interactive. So this point you should remember. Okay, the first code name of the language was Mocha, and it was called later LiveScript, and later on they made it to JavaScript. Even after Mocha, they renamed to LiveScript. In December 5 of 1995, in Netscape, where Mr. Brendan was working, he has designed the Mozilla Firefox version 3.0 or the Netscape Navigator, along with the Sun Microsystem, means collaboratively they have designed a language called JavaScript. That means the LiveScript they renamed to JavaScript. In 1996, the beginning of the JavaScript started standardization, because it must support for almost all systems in almost all browsers. Then the standardization process started. The Netscape realized that JavaScript needs to be standardized and submit the proposal to ECMA International I think you know what is ECMA. The European Consortium, they have designed a separate standard because it must be acceptable by entire world, the World Wide Web. So ECMA standard was standardizing our scripting features. Mr. Brendan Eats later says the story behind this industry conference. In 97 to 99, the ECMA, the ECMA, that become complete standardized. There, actually, the scripting become more popular. The rapid growth of the JavaScript led to the first edition of ECMA 92. Sorry, ECMA 262. ECMA is an association. I think you know ECMA is headquartered in European country. So they made one association. There they have decided what are the standards should be followed by every browser whoever is developing, because every browser must understand the scripting language. See, whenever you are designing any software, the software should follow some particular rules and regulations. It must be applicable for almost all systems, almost all browsers. So there they have decided the guidelines, the standards. This standard is now applicable to almost all browsers, almost all systems. The first version of ECMA script includes the consistent instructions for introduction of JavaScript language. The ECMA specification were labeled as ECMA 262, and that was including JavaScript, JScript, and ActionScript. These three they standardized in the year 97. In 2005, J.C. James Garrett introduced one more concept called Ajax. So Ajax came after JavaScript. Okay, that was the foundation stone laid in the year 2005 for Ajax. Even though the Ajax was founded in the 99, but the paper means actually they are doing some research on this. So the final paper was published by Mr. James Garrett. He said that better you can use Ajax for asynchronous purpose. So no need to go in a sequential manner, because in the case of normal web page, what is happening? Entire thing is loaded. So better you can stop to load the entire page. You can load a part of this. So for that, they have introduced the concept of Ajax. So Ajax took the user's experience to another level by making it more effortless and efficient. So if you are using Ajax in the program, then the web page loading will be fast and it will be more convenient for the user, and will have a better experience for the end user. Because instead of loading the complete page, I will load only certain parts where the modifications are occurring. So that is our main goal behind the Ajax. So the main Ajax concept came in the year of 2005. This revolutionary paper stood as a backbone of the JavaScript. Okay. The ever-increasing community led to JavaScript framework and tools and libraries. Of course, nowadays there are a lot of development has come because they want to make more program friendly and user friendly. So to write the web pages also easy, if at all you are having these libraries and frameworks. In August 30, 2005, the ever-increasing community led to many JavaScript frameworks and tools and libraries. Of course, day by day, the library's strength is increasing, framework strength also increasing. So this is the timeline, how the scripting languages came out. And in the 2006 to 2020, the initial version of jQuery, a JavaScript library that makes it easier to navigate and manipulate the HTML DOM. I think you know DOM, document object model, because the entire web page will be treated as one document. Inside the document, we'll have a lot of objects. So those complete document can be manipulated easily with the help of the special object, that is DOM object. So remember, the controlling of the complete web page will be done through DOM. So the jQuery which is taking the help of DOM to write the library. In April 15, 2005, they have introduced the JS 1.0. There, the JavaScript library has came out. In 2009, Mr. Rian Ghai introduced the Node.js. It is also an open source, cross-platform, and the JavaScript running environment. Remember, JavaScript is completely depends on browser, not on the server. This is not server side. This is client side. In the 2009, they have introduced called CommonJS. Of course, all are not there in the market now, because by doing research, they are coming with some new solutions. So day by day, they are doing some research on this scripting language, and they are coming out with some new format. In 2010, Mr. Isaac Scheduler invents a new package manager for JavaScript. In October 20 of 2010, AngularJS, which came out. In October 1, 2012, they have introduced one more language for TypeScript, the superset of JavaScript. It was introduced by Microsoft to make the JavaScript a perfect fit for the large-scale development. Even I think Ruby. The Ruby also uses the TypeScript, but TypeScript again you have to translate into JavaScript internally. So it requires one more a translator, which will be converting from TypeScript to the JavaScript. Means day by day the new scripting varieties are coming out. In the 2013, Mr. Tom Okino and Jordan Waki introduced the React in the 2013 itself. See, in the year 2013 they have started. Now this JavaScript, Angular now coming out. That means the research is going on since 2013 itself. In 2014, Mr. Vue.js released the event. In 2016, Angular was released. In 2017, Tom Okino and Jordan Waki introduced the React in the JS conference US in the 2013 itself. In 2018, React Hook announced. In April 2019, Svelte 3 release. This is also one more scripting. And 2020, Deno finally gets the first public release. Of course, these are not that much popular. Of course, they are doing some research on this. And remember, a variety of JavaScript frameworks and libraries such as Ember, Angular, React, Vue, it have been built. The developers, they will be trying to use all varieties of scripting languages in the web pages. Okay, so these are the history behind the. I think I have shown this person. He is the main person behind the JavaScript, who was working in the Netscape. Remember, they may ask a question, or you can ask yourself a question: what is JavaScript? So you can say JavaScript is a programming language for the web page design. JavaScript can update and change both HTML and CSS, as well as it will allow you to check the content. Then that means using JavaScript you can calculate, you can manipulate, and you can validate the data. These 3 points you should remember. Okay, whenever you are teaching to the student, you have to highlight these 3. What is the purpose of the JavaScript? JavaScript for developing the web page, first page, you can say. JavaScript, it will allow you to change the HTML tags, means its behavior, and you can change the CSS attributes behavior, as well as it will allow you to calculate, manipulate, and validate the data. Yeah, you can see a web page. Are you able to see now? So whenever you design, there are 3 layers of the web page: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you know these three, then you can comfortably design a web page. Already you know what is HTML. It is a markup language. It is simply for displaying the content, but it will not bother for the styling. If you want to have a proper style, proper more attractive way of representing the data, then you can apply the CSS. CSS means what? Cascading style sheets, which is mainly meant for setting the background, color, fonts, and different types of layout designs. Everything can be done through CSS. And JavaScript, the language which enables you to create dynamically, updating the content, and it will control the multimedia. It will animate the images, and basically the client side data verification done through the JavaScript. They may ask a question, as it is combination of all the three, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for designing a web page, but all three are integrated. So when you are combining JavaScript in a web page, this JavaScript you have to embed somewhere in a web page with a special tag supported by the JavaScript, means HTML. Which tag is used in HTML to support JavaScript? What is the name of the tag? I hope you know there is a tag called script tag. So in a script tag, you can write your JavaScript logic, which is following the almost all features of Java syntax. Okay. But in Java and all, you have to declare the variables. But here in JavaScript, no need to declare a specific data type for your data. That means there something like the integer, character, float, long, double, boolean, everything is there. You need to specify that because those are all statically typed language. Which one? Your Java. Similarly, when the C, C++, Java and all statically typed. That means in the beginning itself, you have to specify what type of variable that is, whether integer or character or float. Where in JavaScript, nothing to mention. Simply where. There is a special keyword called where. Of course, there are three kinds of declaration in the JavaScript. One is where, second one is let, third one is const. Using these three keywords, you can declare three types of declarations. Yeah. Before that, I'll give a small demo to you. So, Are you able to see this one? Is it visible? JavaScript variables. Visible or not? Just check. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I told you can declare the variable by 3 ways. In JavaScript, the variables can be declared by 3 ways: using where keyword, using let keyword, and using const keyword. But the three having different scope and different visibility and different place, means whether the local scope or global scope you have to decide. Variables can be a string type, the variable may be a number type, the variable may be JSON object, the variable may be a Boolean value. But how will you declare that one? Where you have to declare? Which keyword you have to use? So my JavaScript supports how many keywords? The 3 keywords: where, let, as well as const. Now you have to know these variable types. The variables are used to store the data value. For example, a variable may be used to store user's email address or user's name or user's password or date of birth, anything you can store. But where you have to declare and who can use, because while writing program, there may be multiple functions. So which function should use and which function should not use, and whether I should declare the variable inside the loop or outside the loop. So you should know where I should declare and what is the effect. So try to know their scope also. So in JavaScript, a variable can contain any type of data. Okay. Actually, before the ECMA 6, that is also called ES6, the latest version is ES6 version, which was released in the 2015 itself. From ES6 onwards, they have introduced the keywords like let and constant. Earlier, everything was where only. Before 2015, everything was where keyword. Later on, they have introduced these two, let as well as const. So now currently, you can use these three: let, where, as well as const. Here, see here, you can write like this: where full name equal to some name. So the where keyword which allow you to declare. So our variable can be broken down into few components. Where is a keyword which is declared or variable. Full name is the name of the variable, and equal to followed by some data, that is the real value. That means I have assigned what? Alexander Smith. This is my value part. And full name is my variable name. And the where is my keyword. So that means in a single declaration, you found the three things: the variable keyword, variable name, as well as value for this. Fine. Now, how will you display the data in or using JavaScript? So you can use the console.log statement, which will allow you to display the data in the console itself. So use this one. So if you execute this statement, first statement, what will happen? It will not display. In the first statement is what? Where full name equal to Alexander Smith. Simply the data will be stored in the memory only. It will not display. Whereas when you write console.log your name, so automatically your name will be displayed in the console. Similarly, console.log full name. Full name is what? This is my variable name. In that variable, what value is there? Alexander Smith. So that value will be displayed. So that means finally I'll get your name is Alexander Smith. This is my output. Okay. So this Alexander Smith will be displayed where? In the console. Because I think you know how to get the console. You can go to the debugging tool. There you can check the console. Okay. So to declare a variable, if that is no value, you can use the where keyword, where followed by variable name. If nothing is there, that will take the none. That will take none. Now see here I wrote what? Where followed by variable name. I didn't assign anything. If you have not assigned anything, always it will take the default value none. Or you can say not defined will be displayed. If you want to assign a variable name with some value, example I have written here. So example is letter assign. You can assign multiple times. Remember the variable which will allow you to change. But if it's a constant which will not allow you to change, multiple assignments are not allowed for constant. Whereas for variable, you can assign multiple times. That is the difference between constant variable. Now, here you have assigned. If you print our example variable to the console, then example will be displayed because that value example is stored here. Is it clear? Next. Yeah. Here I have used which keyword? Const keyword. Const full name equal to some name. Now, John Applis is stored in full name. Here now full name is what? It is a constant variable, not a variable variable. It is a constant variable. So that means later on you cannot change. Now here, I'll write here again, assume full name equal to, I'll write here some XYZ. Now it will not allow to change because it's a constant. So this is error. Whereas if I write here where followed by variable v1, initially assume the value is some hello. Later on I can write v1 equal to by. This is allowed. Why? Because it's a variable. Whereas the above statement is wrong because it's a constant. So try to know where you have to use where and where you have to use variable. I think you know there are some data which will not change at all. During the some mathematical calculation, you may use pi. I think the value of pi is always fixed throughout the life or throughout the application. The value of pi should be always fixed. So what is the value of pi? That is 3.142. So if you run the program today, the value is pi is same. Tomorrow also same. Day after tomorrow also same. Till end of the world, the pi should be fixed, which you should not change. So there you can use const. If at all you want to have separate value, then define one more variable. So please observe here, I have used two variables. First full name, second full name. So if you want to store two names, you declare two constant variables. If you want to override, then go for only where, not const. Fine. Now here, main thing. What are the scope and reassign or declare or host means voice is allowed or not in this. Please remember these three. Their scope. The variable having function scope, that means throughout the function I can get. The const will have the block scope. You can access within the block. The let also allows to access within the block only. You cannot access outside the block. Variable you can reassign. The const you can assign if it is one type of constant array. The elements you can assign, but not the, this is for elements of the array. You can say elements of array. And let will not allow you to write in the same. Similarly, where you can redeclare. Yes, constant you cannot redeclare same name. Let also will not redeclare same name. Similarly, where you can hoist. Constant, you cannot host. Let, you cannot host. So this table should know. Okay. Now I'll give you the scope of this variable. I think you know what is the scope. Scope is used to refer where the variable can be accessed within the program. There are two types of scope. One is global scope, second one is local scope. Global scope means it is visible to throughout the program. That means everywhere you can see. Local scope within the block only. So you have to decide where I should declare the variable, whether the local area or global area. Assume I have defined the name equal to some name. If you define outside, that is global scope. If you define inside the block, that is local scope. This variable can be accessed throughout the entire program if it is given in the global area. Yeah. Listen here. In order to declare a local variable, you must use either let or const, which are given with block scope. See here now, let day equal Monday. Let flavor equal vanilla. Here, how many variables I have declared? Two variables. Both names are different. Now, inside this, I wrote here day equal to Monday. Day is what? My variable. I am comparing with what? Monday. If day equal Monday, again, internally I have defined another flavor variable. That means what? This is one variable, flavor is also variable, names are same, but it will be defined in some other location, not in the same. Because here my value is what? Vanilla. Here my value is what? Chocolate. That means this let is what? This is my block scope or local scope. This is local. That means its life is within the block only. Once you come out from the block, this flavor chocolate gone, which is not visible outside. So you must differentiate this. How the value should retain and how long the value will be visible. I think you know in the language C also, there is something called static variable and non-static variables. If you declare the variable as a static in C, what will happen? Even if you come out from the block also, that variable will be still retained. If you go second time, the old value will be there. Whereas if you declare a normal variable, when you go second time, that variable will be disappear. When you comes out, those are auto variables. In a similar way, here also, once you go inside, this will be there. Once you come out, this life is gone. This is just like auto variable. So now, if you can imagine this program. Now, can you imagine what is the output of this program if I execute? Think about it. Day equal Monday. You have to understand every line. So what type of output you are expecting here? That means the flavor is defined in two places. Above the if condition, below the if condition. If you define above, that is okay outside the if condition. Again you define Audible my voice. Yeah, I think we have stopped here. Listen here. How the let variable is differ from where variable. When you declare let variable, its scope will be within the block. Within the block. Now here, where sound is audible. Sound is not. Now see, when you comes out of the block, now here it will print this vanilla flavor because its life is over. When you come out of the if condition, here this is okay up to this extent. This flavor is available. When you comes out of the block, this flavor is still print this vanilla flavor because the scope is okay. Fine. So this is the final output. It is Monday. There is scope of chocolate for this, and it's not Monday because this is comes out of the okay. So please remember the scope, reassign, redeclare, and voice. These three features if you know, then you can do the program comfortably. Because without knowing their lifetime, their scope, you cannot compute, you cannot imagine what kind of output is coming. Ready? Proceed. How to declare a variable? Remember, when you write where repeat show equal to KSL, again where repeat show, how many times I have declared same variable? 2 times. That means if it is a where variable, same variable you can declare multiple times. That is allowed for a where. In the same scope, same variable name, you can declare 2 times or 3 times also. Multiple times are allowed for the where. So now, so in our code, the radio show twice. So it is not useful in the above example even, but it is allowing. It is not giving error. Now see, but if I write here, for example, let x equal to 10, I will write. Again, I'll write let x equal to 20, I'll write. In that case, what will happen? It will give error because same variable you cannot use in the let. In the same scope, same variable, you cannot define 2 times. So it gives error here. It gives error. Whereas if I write where assume y, where y equal to 17, where again y equal to 90, it's okay. This okay. This is the main difference. So that means if you want to control the variables, if you declare only once, go for let always. If you want to say it can be reassigned, redeclared, then go for where. Now, one more concept is that hosting a variable. Hosting means what? In JavaScript, a variable can be declared after it has been used. So, underline the word after it has been used. Without declaring, also you can use, which means that hosting. This behavior is called hosting. So, hosting is allowed for where variable. Now see, if you observe this example, console log student. Now I have not used, I am using but without declaring. This is called hosting. This is called hosting. Now here I wrote what? Students equal to Andy, April and Donald. So declaration done after using. This type of facility is called hosting. This is applicable only for where variables, but not for let or constant. This point is to remember. Now you see what is the output of this program? Because I have used students. So earlier the student value nothing is there. So it will say undefined. Nothing is there, none. That's undefined. Later on, if total I write here console, for example, I write here console followed by how to display. I will use my log method followed by students. Now this array will be displayed because already the values are already assigned. Generally, the process should be what? First declare then use. So, just 1 minute. Yeah. Audible now? Yeah. Yeah. Audible. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. You have seen this one? The console log screen not visible. Now also. Okay, now check. So the output is for this program, to execute will get output and define because I am printing the student before declaring. If you try to declare a variable without where keyword, our program would return the uncaught referential error, which is not defined. So, 1 second. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Madam, am I audible now? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Yes. Yeah. I hope it is clear, the hosting concept. Is audio clear now? Now I think Go is not there. Yeah, remember the please wait. So for every JavaScript programming, you have to keep concentration on whether there is a hosting variable concept is there or whether the declaration is there. This concept as well as the scope, local R. If you can know this concept, then you can write the program. Okay. So local scope, redeclaring means same variable is declaring multiple times. That's redeclaring. That is allowed in the where. And in the case of let, it gives error. It gives error. And the hosting variable means you are using the variable before. So you are using the variable before declaring. So this hosting. 1 second. Is it audible now?
Hello, 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 hello. What's నా వాయిస్ వస్తుందా? ఓకే, నా వీడియో వస్తుందా? ఆడియో వస్తుందా?
Yeah. Is it audible now, Dilip? Ma Srividya? Audible? Is clear now? Okay. Yeah. So till now you have used the concept of how to redeclare, how to hoist, because while writing the program, you must give concentration towards this. Because sometimes you may expect that your output should be something, but you are getting something else because of this problem. So whenever this type of problem comes, you have to concentrate on this type. Variable scope, reassign, redeclare, and hoisting. Hoisting means what? Hoisting means you are using the variable before declaration. That is called hoisting. And scope, either local scope or global scope. Some are having global scope, some are having local scope. Fine. This part already checked. Redeclaring is allowed for variable. This part already you discussed. Next, hosting variable, I told you now. You are using the variable without declaration. That means declaration done later. Clear? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now, if you try to declare our variable without where keyword, our program would return uncaught referential error. But program will not stop. It will give some output undefined. Student is not defined. But if you declare the let keyword, then that gives error. For example, I may write like this. Assume yeah. Yes. Yeah. Here, let me write like this. Console dot log some variable xyz I will write. Okay. Now I'll write here let xyz equal to, I'll write here assume 10. Now here what will happen? This will give error. It will not say that undefined. It will give error itself because let keyword will not allow for hosting. Hosting is not allowed. Hosting not allowed for let as well as for constant also. So this point you should remember. But if you try to declare our variable without where keyword, our program will return the following error. Yeah. remember, if you want to remove this hosting problem, what you have to do? First to declare it, then write students. Later on you can assign the value. So here till this is not defined, value is not there, but it gives some undefined. Fine. Later on you can change it. Next, unlike variable declaration using where, the let and constant variables cannot be hosted. This point is remember. Let and host cannot be hosted. This path is the essential path for web programming. Here I am giving another example. Let name equal to gram rand. That means what? Already declaration is done, value is assigned. Now here in this function, I am checking whether name equal to Mark Swinton or not. If this condition true, again here I have defined in the local scope. This is in the local scope declaration. This is in the global scope declaration. When you comes out of the if condition, now I'm printing console log name. This function is defined. Here I'm calling example function. When I'm calling, control goes here, it checks whether both are same or not. Now here what name is actually up to this name is given here. Gram rand. Gram rand is marked so no. So this condition failed. When this condition fail comes here, console log name. Then name is what? Graham rand. So gram rand will be printed. So our code runs, the following result will be printed. Because till this point, this goes to my global scope. When you come inside, for example, here also I will write Graham Rand. Same thing. Let me copy again. Control C. I'll write here. If I write this way, assume I'll write here Mr. Guru. Name is Guru. Example function. Here also I'll write Guru. Okay. If this condition true, it comes here. Let name equal to Mark Swinton. Here I may write console dot here I'll write console dot log within bracket name. Now here what will happen? My local scope is how much? Mark Swinton. This will be printed because this condition is true and this name is having local scope. When you comes out of this if condition, my name, which name? This name is not visible here because here the scope started here, ends here. When you comes out of the scope, this is gone. Its life is over. So I will get the output Guru. Here I will get Guru. This is the output. Is it clear? Next. So we use the let keyword and it will not allow for hosting. That point you should remember. Yeah. Now one more concept. I will show you. At the same time, if at all you are having a system, you can use the notepad and you can type and save the file as a .html and just double click. Automatically that will open through the browser. In the browser that will execute those things. You can, even in the afternoon session, I will give the chance to you to run the programs in your system. Dynamically both can work together. And when to use JavaScript constant. JavaScript supports, I told you the three things, let to, where and const. There are some rules. As a general rule, always declare the variable with const unless you know the value will change. If the value will not change at all, then always use const. Const, you can declare one array. Const, you can declare for object. Const, you can declare before the function. Const can be a regular expression also. Now see, constant objects and arrays. The keyword const, sometimes it may be misleading. In some situation, not always. In some situation, it may misleading. That means you may feel something, it will do something. What are the situations? Just now you see. Remember, it does not define a constant value. It defines a constant reference to a value. Sometimes the value may be constant. Sometimes the reference may be constant. There are two things. One is L value. Second one is R value. Sometimes L value may be constant. Sometimes R value may be constant. L value means the reference. R value means the right hand side value. That is value, real content. Because I think you know, for every variable, two things. L value as well as R value. L value refers reference. R value reference the value available in that reference. That is R value. So now you see, it does not define a constant value, but defines a constant reference also. Because of this, you cannot reassign a constant value. You cannot reassign a constant value. You cannot reassign a constant array. You cannot reassign a constant object. That is one aspect. But you can see, there are some can. You can change the element of constant array. You are not changing the address. You are changing the value of the array, R value. Similarly, you can change the properties of constant object, because sometimes the object may be bound to a location. That location I cannot change, but in that location there are some attributes. Those attribute value I can change. So that means for a constant object, attributes value can be changed, or for constant array, value of the particular location I can change, but not the address of the array. So this point you should remember for the constant. Yeah. Now, please observe here. I hope you know the meaning of the first word. Exclamatory symbol, doc type HTML. When you write this sentence, what it indicates? Can anybody put in the chat box? What is the meaning of first sentence? Exclamatory symbol, doc type HTML. I am giving 5 minutes time also. Try to know the meaning of the first sentence. If at all anybody knows, just put in a chat box, or even you can Google also, because you should know the meaning behind the first sentence. Doc type HTML, what is the meaning? What it signifies? Anybody in the group? Exclamatory symbol, doc type HTML. We have used HTML tags only, but which HTML? Which version of HTML? Because earlier this concept was not there. This says it is HTML5. HTML5. In earlier 4th version it was not there. In 5 onwards they have introduced this one. This says that we are using HTML5. Very good. Fine. So now the document, I think you know, the complete HTML document will be stored in a special object. Which object? Can anybody say which object will be storing the complete your HTML document? What is the name of the object? In a simple sentence, there is a specific name for the document object. That is DOM. Fine. So every tags, every attribute you can control through this DOM object. Now, fine. Now read this program. HTML body, JavaScript constant, declaring a constant array does not make the elements unchangeable. Does not make elements unchangeable. And here I have defined one para tag, ID equal demo. So I have given one identification mark for this para tag. Here I have used one what array? Array, constant array. Now I'm changing the element. Okay. Constant cars equal to Saab, Volvo, BMW. There are 3 elements are there. But in the 0th element, I'm writing what? Toyota. That means earlier in the 0th place, what is there? sub was there. But actually my array is whatever array. It is a constant array. Still, I am able to change. That means elements you can change, but you cannot reassign to the one more array. For example, here I am rechanging. After changing, what I'll get? Toyota, Volvo, BMW. Similarly, I am adding one element. Toyota, Volvo, BMW, and Audi. So if you execute this program, what I'll get? My output will be because already Saab is replaced with Toyota. So the output will be Toyota as well as Volvo. Next BMW. Next Audi. These things I'm getting. That means I'm able to change the content of the array. But if at all I write here, assume I may write like this. What? Cars equal to square bracket. Assume I'll write here some A, some B, and some C. Some values I'm writing. Then you'll get error. Because here I am changing my L value. So this statement will give error. But not changing the element. I can change the content of the array, but not the reference of the array. Here if I write what will happen, the car is referring to some other location. Here my L value changing. L value cannot be edited. L value not allowed. Not allowed for L value, not allowed to change. Not allowed to change for constant array. Here reference is constant. That's why while changing the reference constant to some other one, it gives error. Fine. Now try to see here document dot get element by ID followed by demo. What is the demo? Demo is my ID, which is identified by my para tag. For the para tag, I am having one identification number, that is demo. So in the para tag, this value will be displayed. So how will you display? There is a special attribute called inner HTML. So in the inner HTML of the para, the car's content will be displayed. So this is the way we are able to change. So dynamically, the content is changing. So if you introduce this become, the HTML become the HTML. So they may ask a question here, whether this program is a HTML program or a DHTML program. The answer is whether this is comes under HTML program or DHTML program. Answer is DHTML. DHTML. Is it clear? That means it is allowing you to change the content. Fine. Remember, your JavaScript supports two important objects. One is BOOM, second is DOM. BOOM means browser object model and DOM means document object model. Under BOOM, there are various built-in objects are supported. This is completely relying on browser. So from browser to browser, this number of objects may be changing. Window object, history object, navigator object, and screen object. So this object will be supporting the set of methods. So you can control the window, browser window to window object. You can control the history of the pages, whatever you have traversed or whatever you have viewed, that you can go through the history object. Similarly, navigation, you can move from one window to another window. That means one page to another page, navigation. Similarly, screen object, So those objects you can control, means this content you can control through these following objects. So BOEM supports these 4 important objects. Similarly, under DOM, document object support the various important methods: get element by ID, get element by class name, get element by name, get element by tag name, and JS internal HTML property, JS inner text property. So using DOM object, you can manipulate these things. So with the help of the different objects, you can control the different operations. Yeah. I'll show you the content, how you can write. Yeah. Please observe this one. Are you able to see this one? T1.html. Share it. Is visible? Srividya? Is visual now? Fine. See here. Now, this program. Now, can you guess what will the output? All of you go through this program and put in the chat box what is the output. All of you go through this program. Just okay, for your clarity, because you may not type all these things, I'll say this, I'll say 1. This I'll say 2. 1 followed by this, 2 followed by this. Now you have to know how the control is flowing. I think in every HTML phase there are 2 paths. One is head path, second one is the body path. So the scripting path, always the better place is to write in a head path. The scripting section you suppose write in head path. That is a better position. Of course, in HTML you can write in the middle also. There is no restriction. But the suggestion given by the founder of JavaScript, he said better always write the scripting in the header section. So the control flows from head to body. So now if you execute this one, what could be the output? All of you go through this. So how many variables are there? There are two variables. One is workday, second one is lunch fruit. Now, here you are checking whether workday is true or not. If workday is true, it comes here. So which variable is there? There is a let variable. So in the let variable, lunch fruit is apple. Again, if the condition is true, again comes here, lunch fruit is banana. So that means the first one comes under which scope? The first one comes under global scope. The second one comes under local scope. So in that case, what could be the output? Again, the window.alert, which is outside the if condition. Now you have to see there are two alert statements. That means there are two printing statements. In the alert box, alert is one of the pop-up box that will display. So this program will display the output through pop-up means alert box. How many times? 2 times. What is the first time? What is the output of the first time? 1 banana. When you comes out of the if condition, again this statement will execute. So it will print 2 pack a apple fruit because its life is over. That's why my output, for the output, you will get 1 followed by banana for lunch today. This is the first pop-up box. Second one, I'll get 2 pack a apple for lunch today. This is the answer. If at all I write let keyword, assume this is for the let. This is for the let. But I may say use where. Instead of let, I will use where. Where. Here also I will use where. Now what is the output? All of you think. And I told you where having the global scope, because the same variable is already defined earlier, that will continue. Because redeclaration is allowed for where. So the output will be for where. Yeah, in both case, banana, sorry, first one is apple. Here what happened? Banana is overwritten. So one is banana. When you come second also, banana. In both the case, banana will be. Okay. That's why you have to decide what kind of variable I have to, means declaration I have to use, whether let or. Another one I'll give now. ఒకసారి దాన్ని ఓపెన్ చేయండి. ఈ ఆల్ HTMLs డౌన్లోడ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. డిస్టర్బ్ అవుతుంది. నోట్‌ప్యాడ్ ఎక్కడుంది? అది రన్ అయిపోతుంది. అన్నీ ఓపెన్ చేయండి. Yes. So this part you've seen. Then go to T2. This part also you have answered. P3. Now, yeah. Now what is the output? Window.alert. Before declaration, I am using num. Let num equal 10. Window.alert after declaration. Now, all of you guess whether it will compile or not. First of all, whether it is translating properly or not, or will give some output. All of you think? It will. This program comes under which concept? Is it a redeclaration? Is it a reassignment? Is it hosting? Or is scope? This comes under hosting. Very good. So because let is not allowing hosting, it will give error itself. It will not give even the before declaration undefined. This statement will not come also because hosting is not allowed. Hosting not allowed for let. So that's why error. It is error. Next, one more program. Here, this program, can you guess what the output? Will it work or not? Let num equal 10, window.alert, followed by this. Let num equal 20, window.alert, declares num. All of you go through this. Because I'm using the let variable. 2-time declaration is there. Will it give you some answer? Redeclarations not allowed for the let, so that's why it gives error. So no output will get. Very good. No output will get a error message because let you are reading in the same scope for the same variable name. Because here I wrote num, here also wrote num. If at all, for example, I may write here num1 and here I'll write num2. Here I'll write num1 and here I'll write num2. Now, what is the output? My variables are different. So when the variables are different, my output will be after declaration num is 10. Second time the pop-up box comes. After declaration num is 20. So this is the way it works. Very good. Next, T5. Are you able to see this one on the screen? Now can you guess what the output? Guess the output. students equal to, I have defined three variables, Patro, Surya and Narayana. Window to toilet students. Again, I have declared const students, Andy, April and Donald. Window toilet students. This comes under which concept? This program comes under which concept? Is it redeclaration or hoisting? Is it redeclaration or hoisting? No, redeclaration means I should use the keyword where or let. It is not redeclaration. No, it is not a redeclaration, it is hoisting. Because without declaration, I have declared the array. Means I have used the array. I have used the array without declaration. So it comes under hoisting. But for constant, hoisting is not allowed. So it gives again error. Hosting allowed only for where. Hosting is allowed for where only. So it gives again error. Okay, next. T. Yeah. Now you see. Here, declaring constant array does not make the elements unchangeable. I can change the elements. Now here, I have defined one constant array. Again, I have updated the sub with Toyota, and I have added one element. So that means the content of array can be changed. And whatever the content comes, I am pushing. I am displaying on the screen. And fourth place, I am adding one more. I think you know, in array, you can store either by push or by indexing. This is the indexing mechanism. This is using indexing. And this one using pushing method. You can add an element to the array either by push method or by indexing method. In the 0th element, earlier sub was there. Later on, it is overwriting. Then 1th element Volvo, 2nd element BMW. And when you say push, Audi goes to which position? This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. Now Audi goes to 3rd position. So that's why when I write 4th position, what will happen? Alto will be stored in 4th position. And Mahindra goes to 5th position. So that means this is also allowed. So even though I have declared as a constant array, but it allows me to change the content. But where it fails, under what situation it will fail? If I write here cars equal to, I will write one more array, for example, A, comma B, like this. That means here, this gives you error. Why error? Because constant array, you cannot redefine, sorry, you cannot re-refer. Reference address cannot be changed. Okay. So I think I told you constant array will be always pointing to fixed location. In that location, data may be changed. That's why it is error. So better do not create one more separate location. In the same location, you try to change the value, but not the location. Next. Control N. Assume I want to add to number. Add to number. So how will I write? First my HTML. Okay. Then I should write first which tag? Head tag. Head I should close. Then I should write my body tag. Then I should write body tag. In header tag, I should define my script. Here, I'll write my own function. So the script allows you to write your own function also. How to write function? You should write a keyword called function. SMF. I'm passing A, comma B. There I'll write where A equal to assume 10, where B equal to 20, and you can have a semicolon as it follows the little bit Java syntax. So you can declare A and B as two variable. Now I will compute C. C equal to A plus B and D equal to A minus B. I want to do all arithmetic operation, and E equal to A into B and F equal to A by B. How many are there? 4 outputs are there. These 4 output I have to display on my web page, not in the pop-up box. Not in the pop-up box. So how to do? So console means it goes to console, not comes to the web page. Yes, you have to define one HTML tag /p. This para, I will assign the ID. ID equal to, for example, say A for addition. A for addition. ADD add. Okay. This will be showing my addition. I will define one more tag. Assume some subtraction tag. This will be my multiplication, and this will be showing my some division tag. So what I have to do here, the first para I should get addition, in second para I should get subtraction, third one I should get multiplication, fourth one I should get division. So how to come to this place? How I can access? This complete web page is controlled by a special object, that is document object. So I should write document document dot get element by ID. Which ID? This ID is hash add. So I got what? The location. There I should display dot inner HTML equal to my value. Which value? C. So I can display this value. Similarly, in second para, so Control C. So I can write now document to get element by sub. Next, multiplication. So first one is C, second one is D, and this is multiplication. This I can get E, and this one division, F. Okay. Now, but this function I should call. This will not run directly. This will not run directly. So here what I will do, I will call the function. What is the name of the function? f of, assume I'll write here 12 comma 45. So when I call this function, control goes here. Okay, for your clarity, I'll write here window.alert. I want to write a pop-up box window.alert. I am in function f. Function, some message I want to print. So this alert pop-up box will be displaying first. After that, the inner HTML of this para tag is accessed. There I am displaying my value. Now Control S, I'll save the program. Control S, save as. In the desktop, I'm storing as program 8.html. I'm saving it. If I double click on this HTML, yeah, I'm in function F. Not, is not visible there. It's visible. Is the screen visible? Oh, admali sketch cheyalada. Mitte cheyalada. Yes. Screen. Go to desktop. Desktop. Here, refresh any. Yeah. P8. A screen no. Notepad is share any. P8.html. కదండి ఎప్పుడు సెట్ చేయండి. I is because case sensitive. Control S. F5. Now see, cannot property the null string for the inner HTML. This, yeah, it is completely case sensitive. HTML. See, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control S, F5. Reload. Uncode type error cannot be null. Setting. Why? Spelling correct now. Create. Document get element by ID. I add. Oh, here very not. You have not defined the where. Define where. I have defined where. Control S. Reload. S. Uncode type error cannot provide null settings in inner HTML. Why? Let me write here. Null string plus C. Or not required. You can write in single quote also. For example, I'll write here hello. Okay. Let me put this is comment. First one comment, second one comment, third one comment. Okay. Control S, F5, reload. Yes. Uncode the error nulls setting inner HTML at line number 13. Inner HTML equal to this. So in the previous one already you've done no. See inner HTML. One second. Inner HTML card variable. Yeah.
Not required, you can write double quote also. Or Control S. Reload. Inner HTML equal to hello, double quote followed by this. Document dot get element by ID. Not equal. No, that is not window object. Cannot be set properties of null setting inner HTML. It should be window. No. Get element by ID. Correct or no? Document get element by ID. Spelling mistake. Inner HTML car. My variable is C value. C is A plus B. I'm assigning. My name is ID. Assume instead of this, I will let me write P1. Maybe ID is a keyboard. P1. Control S. Reload. Function is coming. What is saying? Cannot set the properties of null setting. 3. Here you are passing F with 12 and 45. Here let me write A comma B. Where not required now. Here, I'm passing A and B. That A and B is coming. Let me, remove this because I'm passing here the argument. Control S. Control S. Reload. HTML C. Why this error? I have removed this one. What is the problem? C equal to A plus B. I'm passing 12 and 45. If I write here, not required, then what is the mistake here? I have calculated C value. C value I'm assigning to my ID. Here, instead of let me print directly, let me put comment here. Okay, I am in function F plus the value I will print here. What is the value? C I am printing here directly C. Directly C itself. Control S. I'll say the program. There I'll reload the F5. 57 is coming. But here what is not assigning? What is the wrong with this? Because computation is correct. Because I'm passing 12 and 45. A value is 12, B value is 45. So 12 plus 45, 57. But this value has to go to my web page. So document dot get element by ID. So I'm referring to my ID. My ID is how much? P1. It goes here. There, this element, the inner HTML, my attribute. There I'm assigning the value C. If I assign, maybe yes, double quote plus C. Let me check. Control S. Here, right click or refresh. F5. Why it's not coming? Create. Yeah. YouTube. Back to 57. Okay. Reload. I'm getting 57 here, but at the same time, it should come to the web page also, where somewhere make mistake. What the mistake? Because I'm referring this ID, it comes here. There, it has to assign the value. So what is the mistake? The program. Reload it. Okay. Inspect the elements. When I'm inspecting console, the error is saying that line number 12. There it's showing inner system. Anything wrong with my spellings? Document spelling DOCUMENT document dot get element ELEME and element by ID v1 inner HTML dot C. This value or string conversion function is there. String conversion. Correct. Accelerate string of C is correct. Document dot get element by ID. Element by ID. I'm assigning the value. Get element by ID. Yes. Element by ID name only. That your main mistake. Yes. Control S. So here subtraction. This I'll remove this one. Remove this one. Remove this one. Control S. So here yeah 57. Okay. While assigning still is saying why. It must be string type. It must be string type. So can I write double quote plus concatenation C control S. Okay. Inner HTML null string. Here is why. Spelling correct, no? No, that doesn't matter. Okay, very good. Yeah, fine, fine. It is defined. Yeah, one of the mistake here. Already this function is called directly. This function, because if you write here above, what happened? It is calling directly without clicking the event. This method is calling directly. That's why the P1 was not there. That's why it is giving error. So to avoid this one, what I'll do, I will not call F directly. I will call on clicking. So I'll put a button here. If I click, then the method should invoke. So here I'll write input type equal to button. I will call this on clicking. Type equal button. ID equal to my B1 button. Okay. And on click equal to, I will call which method? My function F. I will call the function F with the value assume 12, 34 something. So this one I'm calling, my input is close here. So if I click on the button and the value is value equal to click me. So on click, I'm calling the function F. Earlier I wrote here. That's why it was going continuously and it was not saying that P1 is not there. Now here say this now. I'll say the program. Console source reload. Say the program. Now just save it. Yeah, click me 46. That is in alert box at the center. Is it clear now? So you must be very careful when you are calling, because once the event occurs, then I should call this function without invoking, means without clicking. If I go there, the control goes in a sequential manner, which is not finding the position. That's why it was giving null value. So whenever this type of program comes, always use a event handling concept. So if I click here, I'm sending the value. Now you may ask a question, how will I pass the data directly? That means whatever data I'm typing, that data should add dynamic. So in that case, what I have to do? Now this is static. This program is static. How much I'm adding? 12 and 34. Now I don't want to get 12 and 34. I want to have my own value. So for that, what I'll do? I'll take my input box. See, I'll write here input. Input type equal to text. So I'm typing here, and value equal to initially null. Here I'll print a message, enter text1 or enter num1. Enter num1. I'm entering the value. Is it clear? Now enter, and the name ID equal to, let me write here n1. for the first two variable. Then enter Control C, num2. Okay. N2. Here you have to pass the value. Here let me call the function. There I will write. When I'm clicking the button B1, it will go there. Here I will retrieve the value of A and B. Here I will not pass. Now here I'm changing. Just simply I'll call function F. Here what I will do, A value I will retrieve, A equal to document dot get element by ID. Document dot, here I'm getting A value. That A I'm declaring as where. Which one? That is my N1. Control C, I got N1 now. Similarly, I will get second variable B, N2. Okay. Now, but this N1 N2 always comes in terms of string. So I have to do parseInt. Now, I got A and B value. After getting A and B, so I will calculate CDEF. Okay. Now, Control S, I'll save the program. Yeah. Run it. Yeah, enter N1, SM12, SM here 5. So it is giving NA and NaN. So that means still there are some mistakes. N1 element by ID. So I should write the ID is N1 ID N2 dot the value VAL dot Bella. Dot val. Let me see here. So after getting the value, now research, refresh. Assume here I'm getting 12 and 5. Click me 17. Yeah. So after getting the value, I'm getting my all answers. So dynamically, you are able to retrieve and do the operation. Okay. So after the lunch break, we'll have second session at 2 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.